All right. Okay. So exciting. Today, December 29th, 2021, this incredible year is about to come to its conclusion, and we're going to start a new year, and amazing new things are part of our experience. That we're manifesting, we're making it happen. But those of you who know my honey and I, you know that we have recently adopted a couple months ago, back in September, this precious, precious dog. I shouldn't even call her a dog. She's a being in a dog body. Anyways, this precious girl, Sandy, she and I have just this incredible connection. We're soulmates. Even had a reading yesterday with this woman, animal whisperer. And she asked, what did I want her to focus on? And I said, I just want you to tell me a little bit about our relationship because, I don't know that much about her. Anyhow, she said, oh my goodness, you girls, you're soulmates. And it was so sweet. And let me share it again because Jody is joining us, and Jody is an animal whisperer too. But Jody, I was sharing that yesterday. I was on a program where a friend of mine had a animal whisperer on, and it was really cool because, excuse me, when it was my turn, this lady asked me if I wanted to ask her specific questions about Sandy. And I said, no, just tell me whatever, just share what you got. What do you feel? And she said, oh, wow, you two are soulmates. And she was saying, not all animals and their people are soulmates, but she said you two are definitely soulmates. And I know that, I feel that, my sweetie feels that. But anyhow, I want to share this little example of what what soulmates we are. So Sandy always hangs out with me in my office when I'm working because she just likes to be near me. So she just hangs out with me. She sleeps in the bed or next to our bed. She's on the couch next to where I sit. Usually I have to sit on the floor so she can sit on me. She's a lap dog and she's like 50 pounds. Anyhow, so this morning I said to my sweetie, I said, can you please take Sandy up into your office? Because it's become very evident that when she's with me, she wants to get on my lap at some point. She's a big dog. I can't have her on my lap and also be talking to people. I mean, it'd be like holding Clipper. She's so freaking big. Anyway, so then I put her in the crate to get some relief, and then she starts barking. So I can't put her in the crate, which is in my office. So I asked Crystal, can you please take Sandy up with you? So he had to put the leash on her because she would not go. And then she sat at the bottom of the stairs, just hunker down. She was not going to go up. Anyways, it took much prodding to pull sweet little Sandy up the stairs. So thank you, my beloved. You got your workout this morning. Oh, that girl and I'm telling you, it is truly the most unconditional, most amazing love affair I have ever had on this planet, and that I can remember of in this incarnation. And this girl and I were meant to find each other. And it's just so sweet, so sweet, because we are here to help each other. The animal whisperer said to me yesterday, she experienced abandonment, so she's got abandonment issues. And she said it's usually a reflection of the owner, because they come to reflect what either you're learning or what you have already learned. And I oh my goodness, what a treat. Wow, I'm super excited about this special treat here. Anyways, there's just nothing like having you here, Spencer. Thank you so much for joining us. But anyways, so this is a fun, you'll have to go back and listen to the beginning, Spence, to get the funny story about Sandy. But anyways, so the horse whisperer, animal whisperer, she does horses also, was sharing that pets have the same issue the parents or the owners, partners, people have, because they're here as mirrors. So she said either she's here to help you heal or you're here to help her heal. And she says she's got abandonment issues. I'm like, that was my issue. I felt abandoned from the time that I was born because my dad wanted a boy and I was a girl. And then my dad left and I was 10 and left all the girls. So anyhow, I had abandonment issue for a very long time. So it's really sweet that the work that I had to do to reclaim my wholeness was to stop abandoning me and accept the truth of who I am, the child of God that I am, the wholeness, the completion, the perfection of who I am. Because until I began to accept that about me, I didn't acknowledge what was inside of me. So I kept looking for love in all the wrong places. I kept looking for it in partners. I looked for it in houses and money and status and, in the lake house, in a fancy car, in traveling first class. I kept looking for love in all the wrong places. I even looked for it at a dollar store. I mean, I was a love whore. I didn't care where I was looking. I was looking for love, no matter where it was. I knew that it was not in me for so long because I believed the stories that I grew up with. You're not a boy. You're not good enough. Your dad doesn't love you. He left the family because you were not the boy. So growing up with all of these stories about what was wrong with me, what was deficient in me, had me abandon me. Why? Because I didn't know what I didn't know. I believe the people who raised me. I believe that they knew the truth about me because they couldn't teach me to listen to the truth within myself. And because I wasn't listening to the truth inside of me, I went looking for the truth outside of me. You remember the book by, I can't remember, I think it's Dr. Seuss, Are You My Mother? Maybe it's not Dr. Seuss, but Are You My Mother? Are you my mother? Are you my mother? To the little birdie who falls off the tree, asks the crane, the construction, are you my mother? It asks the tree, are you my mother? It asks, the big truck, are you my mother? I kept looking in this life. Are you the one that loves me? Are you the one that approves of me? Are you the one that makes me whole? Are you the one that's going to make me happy? I kept looking for me outside of me. So of course, life does what life does, and it could not reflect back to me what I wasn't reflecting back to it. It couldn't show me wholeness here if I was projecting lack out there. So I got lots of people, lots of things, lots of opportunities for people to take full advantage of me. But because the ego is very tricky, conniving, insidious, disgusting, it did to them what it was doing to me. So they took advantage of me, I took advantage of them. And instead of them abandoning me when I wasn't done, I would abandon them when I was done. It was just such a crazy, fucked up way to live. But that's what we call normal. So sweet little Sandy is here. She was abandoned in the human world, and crazy people did that. But here's the thing, she's not reflecting that I have abandonment issues that need to be healed. Those are completely healed. But I get to stand for her. No, Sandy, you are perfectly okay. You can go upstairs and hang out with your dad while I'm down here. You're going to be just fine. It's not going to hurt you to go upstairs for a little while. So I keep reminding her, like I reminded my children, you're whole, perfect, and complete. Whatever you're choosing to do, you will experience the consequences of them because you're a powerful creator. If you're creating from lack, that's what you're going to have. If you're creating from fear, that's what you're going to have. If you're creating from love, from wholeness, from completion, that's what you're going to experience. If you think there's something wrong with you, you're going to get evidence of that. If you think there's something whole and complete in you, you're going to get evidence of that. But the mind has to be trained. And do you want to believe the truth, or are you going to settle for the lies? So let me tell you this, I am just like kind of on fire here today, because this morning, another fun experience with my sweetie. This morning, as you all know, usually these messages kind of come to me like in the shower or early in the morning, and I get what it is that we're going to share that day. So there's no rhyme or reason to how we do Ascension with A Course in Miracles on Wednesdays. But this is just so precious, because this morning, before I was told about the class, I was given a theme for the year, and it's all about truth in 2022. Truth and 22, they are going to go together for me. Radical truth. I am not settling for seeing anybody as less than the truth of who they are. I am not settling for not sharing the truth as I know it. And here's the thing, it's my truth. I no longer, and haven't for a long time, care what other people think about what I think about the truth. It doesn't matter to me. I know the truth that I feel in my beingness, and what has landed and what is certain to me. I am okay dying on a hill for that truth. Absolutely okay, because I am under no laws but God's. And I know the truth that I and the Father are one. I know the truth that you and the Father are one. I know that each and every one of you is whole, perfect, and complete. If you don't want to believe it, that's okay. I know that you also have an ego because I have an ego. I know that your mind has been conditioned to believe things that are not true because my mind's been conditioned to believe things that are not true. I know that for thousands of years, every spiritual teacher that has taught from the highest perspective of truth, all of this is true. The ego is true. The fear, it's true. But so is the love, so is the enlightenment, so is the eternalness. It's true. Where do you want to set your truth meter is up to you. And if I set my truth meter at the highest possible place, even if that's not where I'm living from all the time, I am setting the frequency that I am attuning to. And I'm attuning to God's truth, period. This is why I'm under no laws but God's, because I don't care about human laws. Those laws have zero power over me anymore. Does that mean that I don't follow the laws? Yes, I follow the laws. They're helpful. Green lights and stop signs, extremely helpful. What is not helpful is hierarchy. What is not helpful is that one person knows better for the rest of us. What is not helpful is that I'm not as capable of accessing God as the church has taught me. What is not helpful is that I need to pray and bow to some God on a fairy God, Santa Claus on a cloud somewhere that decides if I'm naughty or nice. That's not helpful. And those are the things that we have to begin to get really clear about. If the truth is that you are an expression, whole, perfect, and complete because you're made in the image of God, totally and completely divine to be here to express that aspect of God, if that's your truth, you can settle for believing less than that. You absolutely can, but it does not deny the truth that is true. It just has you skirt the truth, and that's okay. You can do that because God doesn't punish anybody. God is not interested in punishment because God is too busy doing fun things and moving forward into more things to be joyful about. So if we want to dilly-dally with the ego and descend and condense ourselves into a tiny, tiny point of possibility, if we want to make ourselves so tiny that we're contracted, that people are always feeling sorry for us, that, we're constantly, misery loves company. We need somebody to share our misery with. We need somebody to commiserate with our pittiness or, our pitifulness with. If you want to do that, it's okay. If you want to be evil, it's okay. God is not in any way, shape, or form going to judge anybody. The reason God is not going to judge anybody, because God knows this is all temporary. God knows we're all children of the creative source, made in its image. When you understand that God imagined us, God is a magi, God is a magician. And if we were made in the image, because we were imagined, that's how you understand these things. If you're made in the image of God, God imagined us to be like it is. It imagined us to be a creator. And God is not a father. God is not a male figure up there on a cloud deciding, who it's going to punish. That's humans projected that dysfunction on God and put God up there on a cloud deciding if we're good or bad, because we do that to one another. We are the ones who decide you're good, you're bad, I like you, I don't like you, I judge you and I don't judge you. And we have even created an entire judicial system. This whole justice system, the injustice system, it's all a projection of our judgments of one another. The justice that God uses is that we're all created the same. And if one of us makes a mistake, it is our duty Number one, to forgive them because we are just as capable as they are to do the same thing. Number two, to remind them of the truth of who they are so that they get redirected back into alignment with the truth of who they are so that they don't do it again. We only do things that are not loving when we stray from love. What is the correction? Straighten up, straighten up. Go back to love. Don't stray from that which created you already happy, whole, and perfect and complete. You know, we've got to change so many things. We've got to change how we parent, because when our children who are born in perfection, when they're born, we pull them down to the frequency that we're at. We teach them about shame, about lying, about judgments, about all of those things that are not true. We pull them down and we say to them, you are going to come down to where I am, because I can't be honest enough about the fact that you are everything I wish I could be. But because I don't remember who I am, because my mommy, my daddy smacked the shit out of me and had me believe that there was something wrong with me, because I believe that, then you're going to need to believe it too. Now, we're not saying that consciously, but it is happening unconsciously because we are magnets. We are drawing each other down in frequency because everybody did it. So because everybody jumped off of the, the ledge, everybody jumped off the ledge and we all went down. So what is happening? What is happening? We are at the end of a cycle. We're at the completion of a 26,000-year cycle, a spin through the universe. And we have to learn more about the truth of who we are, because we're not just these little bitty humans walking around planet Earth, messing things up. We are magnificent divine beings. And the real part of us is grander and not here. The real aspect of who we are is in the cosmos. We are moving with planets. We are moving with galaxies. We are moving with the universe of universes. We are in places at this very same time that we have no conscious awareness of, because our mind has been shut down. We have been literally dumbed down. And we've been dumbed down because those who understand the way the mind works have pulled us down and made us slaves to them. What they don't understand is how the heart works. And that is what we're here to do. We're here to remember how the heart works and do the work of loving ourselves enough. Instead of looking for love outside of ourselves, we need to come inside, find the love that is in us, and we work our way up the scale. Little by little, we move through the map of consciousness. You can't jump from here to here. Nobody gets to jump for more than a nanosecond. I have jumped many times. I have had moments of transcendence where I feel the truth of who I am, and then boom, my thoughts start again and down I go. And then I work my way through those thoughts and I look at the thoughts and I analyze them and where the heck did this come from? Oh, mom taught me this. Mom, this is yours. Grandma taught me this. Grandma, this is yours. Who taught me the lies about God, church? You taught me that. That's your hand-me-down belief. I don't want it anymore. You can keep believing that, but I'm not going to use that belief. It's not my truth anymore. And little by little, I peel away all these hand-me-down beliefs that weigh me down, and I free my soul to align with the truth of who I am. And guess what? Because we're all made the same. We're all made by the same God. We're all made in the image of the same thing. It's the same truth for all of us. Not one of us is special in that we have truth that the other one doesn't have. Not one of us is special in that our ego is not capable of doing the same ugly things that every one of us is capable of doing. So we got to get clear that we're all equal. We're all absolutely the same. No one is better than the other. Truth number one, there is only one. There is only oneness. That's all it can be. This essence, this intelligence, this power, this magnificence, whatever you want to call it, energy, universe, God, source, spirit, Buddha, Bambi, Baba. It does not matter what we call it. It knows what it is, and it is love. And what is love? That which holds everything without condition. That which holds everything because it creates it to experience it, to love it, to be in relationship with it, to know itself in the eyes of the other. So that Sandy and I could have the experience of person and pet. But in a past life, she might have been my person. I might have been, her dog. I might have been her child. I might have been her tree. I don't know what I was, but there is one thing that we all have got to get clear. Everything is made of the exact same thing because there's only one thing being everything. Let's say that again. Everything is made of the exact same thing because there is only one thing, if you call it that, being everything. So I'm in the shower and I'm beginning to get the message that we're going to talk about today. And I'm taken to this one line and I'm going, oh my God, where is that line in the course? I know where a lot of things are, but I don't know everything is. And what was so interesting is that one line, of course, you're going to hear it in a second, that one line matched what I was told earlier that I thought was totally separate, that I've been inspired that the year of truth is, radical truth in 2022. And some of you might have seen, I posted on Facebook and I said, I'm going to read this to you because I am so clear about my purpose right now. Of course, I'm using, it's a new year, so I'm going to use that. So it's no more bullshit. It's a no more bullshit year. Radical truth in 2022. So just look for the truth bombs that I'm going to be dropping in my social media because only the truth is going to set us free. And I am committed. I'm going to drop truth bombs all over the place. And no, it's not just about, conspiracy theory truth bombs. I'm going to drop some of those too. But I'm going to remind you the truth of who you are. And those of you who are in my one-year program, you know that you signed up for a year where you are going to hold the truth of who you are for yourself and others in that group. We are going to see each other as whole, perfect, and complete. Nobody gets to pretend that you don't have all the answers, that you are not a loving being. Nobody gets to play with us next year that is not going to play in the high frequencies of owning the truth of who you are. And the reason we have to do it in kind of a small group is because many, I know I did, and many of you, I know you, because I know a lot of you personally, because I coach you, are not comfortable walking around letting everybody know, yeah, me and the Father are one. Jesus and I were like this. Yeah, he's my bro. You're not comfortable doing that. Well, I am. So I'm going to hold that as the truth for who we are so that we can all resonate and vibrate to that truth, because I know it's what you want to experience. And isn't that going to be fun? So this year, 2022, and you get into the numerology, you'll see exactly what I mean, but we're not going to get into that today. If you break it down, we've got 2022. If you look at the twos are all about duality. Two, we are here with a physical body. We're here to experience the physical body. The Course in Miracles tells us you're not a body. You're still as God created you, to help us understand that the body is created by the ego. We need to get that straight. But there is a second part to us. We are also non-physical energy. We have got to come to terms that there's two of us. So the year of 222 is a decade of twos. But this particular year, 222, and a zero in the middle, but we're not going to count the zero. We have got to get clear that everything is operating between love and fear. Everything is operating in a physical way, but it is non-physically driven. We've got to get clear that we accept the truth of who we are so that we can make the decision. Are you in the world and of it, and you think all you are is physical, and you're operating based on everything that's happening out there in the world? Or are you going to be in the world but not of it, and you're going to take 100% full responsibility for the powerful mind that you have? Because we are bifurcating, it's obvious, you can see it out there. You don't need conspiracy theories to see that the world is dividing between masked and unmasked, jabbed and unjabbed, those who believe in the power of the body, those who believe in the power of big pharma, those who need safety, those who want freedom. We're seeing everything is dividing. We thought we had division before. It's nothing compared to what is happening right now, because we are literally dividing by good and evil. And you don't have to understand the Bible. You don't have to even believe the Bible. You don't have to believe Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism. You don't have to believe any of it, because it's energy. It is energy. There's energy that contracts. That's what evil is all about. The energy that contracts is when we are not being who we are, therefore we're not expressing ourselves. When we contract, we literally, we suppress our truth. We don't share it. We don't send it out. So what is evil? And you've seen me do this a bunch of times. So let's take the word evil. Don't read a whole lot into that. Evil is nothing more than to live backwards. If you are alive, if you live fully in alignment with the truth of who you are, you're not backwards. But if you're not fully alive, you're dead inside, you're going to become evil, because you're going to become the opposite of that which God created you to be. Not because you can become that and change who you are as God created. You can't change your energy, but you can contract it. You can shut it down. It's like you can stuff it. But what happens to energy that's been stuffed down? Well, it doesn't take long before it begins to push, like a beach ball. When you push it into the water and you push it down, notice how it takes a little bit of effort to make the beach ball do what it's not designed to do. But we can push it under the waves. We can push it way under the water, and we can hold it there. But at some point, we're going to get tired of holding it. At some point, there's going to be a moment where we're going to forget what we're doing, and it's going to come popping up. Those are the moments when we hit our rock bottom, when we can no longer hold the bullshit together, when we can no longer hold the lie together. And what's going to happen is the part inside of us that wants to live is going to push up. And what do we all do? We push it back down. Right now, humanity is right here in the middle of accessing its courage, because too many of us have been suppressed for too long, thousands of years. Yes, this has been going on a long time. Talk about insanity, doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Being born into unconscious families and being raised unconsciously and thinking we're going to be conscious. All right, this is an opportunity. The outside is falling apart. We're seeing the cracks in the matrix. We're seeing the insanity. It's obvious, the bullshit that is being peddled out there for our own good. If you can't see it, then, and obviously everybody who's here can see it, but if you can't see it, if somebody can't see it, it's not a bad thing. Don't judge them. They're in the part of the journey that they need to be at. Some are descending, some are ascending. We're going to meet some in the way, some we're not going to see at all. And we need to practice what real love is all about. And real love allows everybody to be where they are. Why? Because that's where God put them. Now, not because God put somebody in hell, but because God put us in a place of choice, freedom. God placed us with free will to go anywhere, to roam anywhere on this planet that we wanted to roam to, and do whatever it is that we wanted to do there. Because God knows that even when these bodies expire, our soul is eternal and always connected to it. But it is our job to make the choice to come alive again, to find the truth of who we are again, to raise ourselves up from the dead. Because if you're living in evil, you're dead. You're not alive, dead inside. You're dead inside. My God, I know what it was like to be dead inside, constantly looking for something external to make me feel better. But when you make that journey and you connect with the truth of God in you, you cannot help over time. It takes time to find such joy, such passion, such excitement, that you cannot help but want to share the truth of who you are, not because you go out there and become a teacher like me or like others, but because you exude that joy. And people don't need to see you as a teacher with a sign or a card that says you're a life coach or a healer. Your light shines. You cannot block the light. When we ascend and we expand, your joy is contagious. That's why happy people like to gravitate towards happy people, and grumpy people like to go to grumpy people. At some point, you all know, we all used to gravitate to the grumpy people, and at some point we start getting happier. It's hard to go visit those grumpy people. And if they don't want to come up, sometimes they come visit, but if they don't want to come up and stay there, they want to pull us down, and we've got to learn to regulate. You know, I did this for a long time. I was crazy, batshit crazy for a long time, up and down, up and down, up and down. I was happy I was down. I was happy I was down. So I drank a lot of margaritas to try and stabilize. It was all in my head. It never stabilized my heart. But it gave me moments of peace. And it allowed me in those moments that, I wasn't, my mind was so, had the margarita mix, whatever, and I didn't need a whole lot to get loopy. But when I had my drink or my two, I would get loopy and my mom would get quiet and I would start to feel, oh my God, I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to have to drink. Actually, I liked how I felt because I felt kind of numb. I didn't want to have to drink to feel that way. And then I discovered that I could be high on truth. And once I realized that I could be high on truth and I didn't need to ingest anything to get high because it was what was in me that I was accessing, and that made me high, then I had to adjust to making sure that my ego wasn't utilizing these beautiful truths and getting my ego spiritualized so that then I would beat other people up with my spiritual truths. We all do that. It's just part of the journey. Even Jesus did it. If you read some of his books that he channeled, he tells you, you get all this wonderful information. You want to go out there and beat it into people's heads. However, just like me, because this is just the kind of relationship Jesus and I have. This morning, he was making fun of me because I was having a bit of a resistance. Oh, why are you telling me what to talk about, 10 minutes before I'm supposed to have breakfast with my beloved, and then I've got to get ready, and then I've got to go get everything set up. So it just started laughing at me. And so here Jesus and I are laughing. He's laughing at me. I'm laughing at him, laughing at me. And basically, it's just the kind of friendship that we have. He's my brother. He's my brother. I'm his sister. He's my sister. I'm his brother. We're one. And that acceptance of the truth of who I am allows me to know that I'm one with Jesus, with Buddha, with Hitler, with, Mother Teresa, and with little bitty Fauci. We're one. We're all one. There's oneness here. And Fauci's not going to get out of this mess that he has placed himself in if I don't see the truth of who he is and call him home. So I'm going to take only just a couple of minutes because this is a jam-packed lesson. I had all that stuff that had to come out of me. Thank you for receiving it. I just love the way all this works. So I want to hear just from a couple of you, what Course in Miracles practices have you been utilizing that assisted you through the holidays to get through the family stuff, the travel stuff, the whatever you had going on stuff? Maybe you were on vacation, a little too close for comfort with some of your relatives. How did you use A Course in Miracles to get through Christmas? And then I'm going to help you with the teachings we're going to look at, how we use A Course in Miracles to get through the rest of our lives. Isn't that cool? Not only New Year's, but the rest of our lives. So please unmute yourself, whoever's ready to share a little bit about how are you using ACIM in your life. Don't be shy. Come on in. Lisa? I put you on the spot.
I'm coming. So I went with the flow this holiday, and God just brought me to a beautiful place. I didn't stick in the traditional, work myself, cook myself to death, and wanted family expectations and had the kids. Everybody was working. And this being the first Christmas without my mother, my sister said, why don't you go to Florida and stay at my place? And I was on the beach, and I used this one lesson came into my head, I want to see. And I was standing there on the ocean, and all I wanted to see was a sand dollar. I just wanted to find a sand dollar because it was a shelly beach. And God said to me, oh, sand dollar, hell, he had a school of dolphins right in front of my feet. I was like, and that, changed my perspective. That was the relationship that I had with him. And when I am open and present, it's right there. It's right at my face, at my feet. And, I turned around to my husband who's got his face in a book, and I said, look, that's either a shark or dolphins, but look. And, I would have missed that if I wasn't present. So Thanks.
Oh, I love that. And you know, the more that we cultivate a relationship with God and Jesus or whatever you want to call it, the more playful they get, the more joyful it is, because it wants us to become childlike and experience everything from that sense of wonder. And so we've got to get clear that the best is only possible when we get ourselves out of our small, contracted, egoic sense of self and open up to our expanded, the part of us that's magnificent and unlimited. Oh, I love that story. Thank you so, so much. Okay, let's take one more. And I see we got a couple new people here. Okay, thank you for joining us. Sharon, thank you for joining us. Very cool. Kay, how did you hear from us? Oh, Lisa, you invited Kay, right? Oh, thank you for joining us. Very cool. And Sharon, how did you hear about us? If you don't mind undoing your microphone and just telling us, how did you hear about us? We'll give it a couple of seconds. And in the meantime, does anybody else want to share how you were using A Course in Miracles? So just unmute yourselves and please speak. No one has to speak. Oh, yes. Hey, Christo.
Well, what's came to me while you were speaking was, you know, over this period, I called family up a lot, you know, did Zooms and videos. And I was, some of my cousins and nephews and nieces, I haven't seen or spoken to for ages. And of course, special occasions just make it happen. And just looking at them, you know, they've grown, they've changed, they've metamorphosed, their features have changed. But I could see myself in them because of the genetics. And of course, it makes it easier to see the reflection in the mirror when the genetics are displayed. And I'm reminded that that same recognition we're needing to see in everybody else, that same part of ourselves, and family just make it easier. And so I was reminded on the gift that family provide for one to see one's own reflection within family. But it's a practice that shouldn't stop with family. It should be with anybody, anything, with animals, with everything. And so I you know, that's something that sort of came home for me as a good, strong reminder about the power of the mirror of God.
Yes, well, we are one family, so that definitely is something that we got to get comfortable with, that we truly are one family. So it's an exciting time. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into what the Course has to say, what Jesus was, you know, prodding me to share here today. So we're going to go into chapter 15 in the text. And for those of you who might be new to A Course in Miracles, the Course has 3 parts, depending which edition you buy, but they pretty much have 3 parts: the text, the lessons, 365 lessons. And also, and by the way, if anybody wants to study the lessons, I have recorded all of them, and on my website, lainaorlando.com, you can purchase all the lessons. I read them, I explain them. I give an incredible amount of detail about what those the lessons are all about, so that you can apply them into your own life. I didn't get to where I am. It was for doing those lessons and really getting the juice out of them that have helped me understand not only what the Course is teaching, to know it in my head, but to live it in my heart. At least I know you're doing those lessons. It's amazing. It's life-changing to be able to do those lessons. All right, so that's the second book, is the lessons. The third book is a manual for teachers. So today we're in book number 1, which is the text. And if somebody will put this in the chat group, so anybody else who joins us can find it. So we are in chapter 15, and we are in section 11. Chapter 15, section 11, we're going to start in paragraph number 8. So in the text, chapter 15, we are in section number 11, Christmas as the End of Sacrifice. That is the title. The text, or the chapter that we're in, chapter 15, the Holy Instant, Sections 11, Christmas as the end of sacrifice. How many of us spend our Christmases sacrificing and doing crazy shit to try and get people to, like us and approve of us and competing who's got the better gift, the more expensive gift, blah, blah, blah. Thank goodness I gave that up a long, long time ago. All right, we're going to start with paragraph number 8. Let no despair darken the joy of Christmas, for the time of Christ is meaningless apart from joy. Where is joy? Is at the top of the resonance, the frequency. Joy is natural because it's who we are. It's why babies are joyful, because they're being who they are. They haven't been trained out of the truth of who they are. They haven't suppressed their joy. So if you want to find the Christ in you, find the joy in you. They are one and the same. All right. Sentence 2, let us join in celebrating peace by demanding no sacrifice of anyone. For so you offer me the love I offer you. If you want to cultivate a relationship with Jesus or Buddha or whatever deity you want to connect with, Kuan Yin, it doesn't matter. You decide who is the being that you most feel resonance with. And when you want to be like that one, when you want to be like Jesus, when you want to be like St. Francis, when you want to be like Mother Teresa, when you want to be like them, you have to do what they did. And what did they do? They extended themselves to others. So let me read this again. Let us join in celebrating peace. You cannot be like Jesus if you are demanding anyone sacrifice their peace in front of you, their joy in front of you. You need to feel really bad about what you did. You should feel really bad you didn't buy me a nice gift. You should feel really bad you didn't clean your room. You should feel really bad you didn't bring me flowers. You should feel really bad that you didn't promote me. Asking people to sacrifice their joy is not going to ever get you close to the essence of the beingness that you prefer to experience. All right. For so you offer me the love I offer you. If you believe Jesus loves you, yes, Jesus loves me. We sang that when we were little. If you believe God loves you, if you believe whatever being loves you, you cannot withhold that love from others. Because if you want to experience the love of God, you have to activate it in you, which means it has to expand. It has to extend to others. We have been contracted. The love that we are has contracted. We've not been accessing the love that we are. And if you want to be like God, if you want to be like Jesus, you've got to understand that it's one and the same. Then it goes on to sentence 3. What can be more joyous than to perceive we are deprived of nothing? This is one of the biggest lies that we've been taught. We've been taught in lack. We've been taught that there's not enough. We've been taught that some have it and some don't, that the 1% has all the billions and the other 99 don't. Our mind has been so conditioned into believing that there's not enough. Let me ask you something. Where, if you've ever studied the beginning of the world, where in the beginning of the world did God place the first bank? Where did God place the first accounting of this is for these people and this is for those people? As far as I have found, we've all been made in the image of God. All of us made equal. All of us put on a planet that was given to us fully stocked with fish, with flora, with fauna. We've been given everything that could possibly need, every material that could be helpful or useful, every mineral that could assist our bodies, every plant that could assist our healing. All of it was here before we got here. All of it. So you got to start using logic in everything that is man-made. If the ego made it because it creates separation, division, I'm better than you are, it was created from a sense of lack, from a sense of not enough. Because all who need to hoard really do not trust that there's more than enough to go around. Because if you trusted that there's more enough to go around, you wouldn't need to hoard it. You would let it be out there. And you would know, oh, you know what? If I run out tomorrow and I'm hungry, then I'll just go to my neighbor and get it from them. Because we would all trust that there's more than enough. So Let me read this again. What can be more joyous than to perceive we're deprived of nothing? If you discover love inside of you and you can give it away, that's the one thing we've all been looking for. Once you discover that the love has been in you, what else are you going to discover that was in you? You know what you're going to discover? Remember, you're made in the image of God. You are an imaginer, just as God is, which means you're a magician, just as God is. So where do things originate from? You know, when you go to a magic show, magician pulls things out of nothing. Well, sometimes out of a hat or out of a, you know, something like that, but typically out of nothing. That's the image. Well, we have settled for very little love because we didn't know what was inside of us. The same applies to everything else. We have settled for very little health because we didn't know what's inside of us. We've settled for very little joy. We didn't know what's inside of us. We've settled for very little financial abundance because the mind has to be deconditioned from this. There's not enough to go around. And as we decondition our mind little by little, we begin to be more generous with one another, sharing what we have, because you don't want to withhold it from your brother and sister who's one with you. But the mind's not ready to share because first we've got to get ready to first get the mind to understand that there's no lack. There's no shortage. You can't give what you don't have. First, you got to know that you have it, but you just weren't accessing it because the mind had been deprived of truth. Sentence 4, such is the message of the time of Christ, which I give you that you may give it and return it to the Father who gave it to me. I know that sounds like a mouthful, but this is how it works. You're all familiar with the symbol of infinity. Okay, here is God. Here's Jesus. Here is you. You, me. Imagine that God is what creates everything. Jesus is the one that is the human example of what it's like to accept receiving all that God has created. And you and I are the ones that put it in motion. Jesus doesn't need to put love in motion. Jesus doesn't need to put abundance in motion because he had his human experience and he has returned to being the Christ. He has returned to the non-physical aspect that we all came from. We need to awaken the Christ inside of us and put love back in motion. We are the ones who send it. We are the ones who receive it of the Father and send it back to one another. Eventually, what we're here to do is realize that God is God. Jesus is, brother. Or you could say, my dog, Sandy. You and I are the same. So once the 3 points, the one that gives it, the one that receives it, the one that sends it, once we realize that we're all part of this beautiful movement where love begins to be moved, but we can't move abundance until we move love, because love has to be at the foundation of abundance. Why? Because we've learned you can only worship one master, love or God or money. And if we don't understand that God is love, then we will begin to love money, because money will give us a sense of worth. We won't know our intrinsic worth came from God, which means it's love, it's connected. Those two things are one and the same. So before we can get to the abundance part, because so many people start, oh, love attraction. I want to make money, 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 money. I want to attract this. I want to attract a lover. I don't teach any of that stuff, not because it's not important, but because that is what happens when you live in the lower frequencies. You're always looking to get. I teach people who want to be in the higher frequencies, find the love that you are and let that abundance flow, because that changes everything. So what is this sentence right here? Let me read it one more time now that we just saw this. So such is the message of the time of Christ. We're in the time of Christ. We're the second coming. We got to activate the Christ consciousness in us. It needs to come out of here because it's a beach ball that needs to come out from under the water. All right. So this is the message of the time of Christ, which I gave you, and that you may give it and return it to the Father who gave it to me. So God creator, Jesus, while he was alive, had his experience where he aligned with God. He went down, created an ego, and then he worked his way back up into consciousness. He did the same thing. I mean, there's only one way, and he showed us the way. We can follow it or not, but every teacher of truth teaches the same thing. So Jesus taught us how to return to that recognition. I and the Father are one, him and the Father are one. And then he taught us. And I'm teaching you, and you teach your children, you teach your neighbor, you teach others, we teach each other here. Once we get that in motion and you begin to flow it, you are in alignment with the truth of who you are. So sentence number 5 says, for in the time of Christ, communication is restored, and he joins us in the celebration of his son's celebration. So Jesus wants to join us, like it was joining with me, laughing this morning at my silliness, my silly resistance, and knows it always wins because it always feels better when I give in. So we have been conditioned to not extend love, to give love conditionally, tit for tat. I'll do this for you if you do something for me. I'll give you if you give me first. It's all very conditional. So we have to remember, why would you want to place a condition on something that feels good? Well, you have to begin to learn that it feels good to give. So we begin a relationship with a creative source. We begin with our pets. We begin with our plants. We begin in nature. We begin to feel love moving. And where did it come from? Well, if you were made in the image of God, you were made by God, it came from God. And if you begin to understand that God is in everything, then you're giving it to yourself and everything else, because everything else is God receiving it and you sending it. And that's the communication that has ceased to happen, because we don't talk about love. We talk transactions. What am I going to do for you? Am I going to give you a ring? Or are you going to be married to me? And we have in poor countries, I'm going to give you a cow. You're going to be my wife. You're going to give me kids, and I'm going to give you, a place to a roof. I'm going to give you wood to chop. And then, that's it. It's all transactional. That's why, oh my goodness, America, the West, love here is so totally, completely nonsensical. We've turned it into fairy tales. We've turned it into Disney. People don't really know what love is. So we've got to come back to find what love is. And then when you discover it, you cannot keep it. This is a trick. It's one of the things that God did to us. You can't keep it till you give it away, which is a wonderful thing, because if you found it and you kept it and you didn't send it out, it's no different than if you thought you didn't have it and you were always looking for it. So those two things cannot happen. You can't go look for it outside, think you're empty. It can't all be in here, but you're not going to send it out there. So we're learning to practice this infinity sign, giving and receiving. I give it to you, you give it back to me. So paragraph number 9, God offers thanks to the holy host who would receive him and lets him enter and abide where he would be. Oh my goodness. And I used to think, how can God give me thanks? Do you realize that God is the laughter of a child that wants to come out of you? But when you suppress it with your victimhood, with your, bullying others, that laughter can't come out. But have you ever heard the laughter of a child, how joyful it is? I've got a little grandbaby. Now I'm hearing he's cackling now, and it's just hysterical. That's the gratitude that God gives us, is laughter returns to the planet. More of us can begin to laugh. More of us can begin to experience joy when we allow God to be what God is. Love, joy expressing through each and every one of us. So God, of course, it's happy. It's grateful, because now more of itself can experience that joy. More on the planet can experience that wonderful, delightful sound, unlike anything else in the world. The sound of joy. Absolutely beautiful. Sentence 2, and by your welcome does he welcome you into himself. For what is contained in you who welcome him is returned to him. You decide to accept that you're made by God, a loving being, full of love, full of joy, and you begin to be joyful, deliberately be joyful, enjoy the day, enjoy what's happening, enjoy your experience, enjoy what's in front of you, because you are here temporarily with a physical body to experience whatever is right in front of you. So you let yourself enjoy what is in front of you. What is in front of you receives that frequency of joy. Now it knows that it is being seen. It is being communicated to. I see you because I enjoy you. Now that thing activates. Now that thing brings its resonance up. It is in joy. Do you realize that when my little grandson is laughing for no reason, I start laughing. So his laughter activates my resonance. And then I laugh, and then he laughs, and I laugh. And before we know it, we can spend minutes, long time in laughter, bouncing back and forth. Don't even have to say a word. It's just absolutely magical. Laughter attracts laughter just as much as sorrow attracts sorrow. It's all frequency, but we have to learn to stand in the truth of who we are and call those into that frequency, but you can't call them till you go there. You got to let God call you in. And how do you get called in? Follow the teachings of one who went. Jesus went before we did, so he's called us in. I have gone before some of you. I'm calling you in. If I can do it, so can you. If you can do it, so can those that you are going to be calling in, because we're here to resonate and vibrate out towards each other. 8 billion on the planet. We cannot all teach everybody. No one person can be the teacher for everybody. Sentence number 3. And we but celebrate his wholeness as we welcome him into ourselves. When you accept God in you, you accept your wholeness, God's wholeness. In accepting your wholeness, you accept the whole. Nobody's broken. Everybody's the same. You begin to see people differently. You can't see them as poor, pitiful victim. You don't go out there and advocate for victims. You advocate for the holy child of God who deserves to know the truth of who they are. Very different. Very, very different. You don't descend to see people in their victimhood. You ascend to your rightful place and you call them there with compassion for where they are, but not because you feel sorry. I know my kids had to deal with that with me, not feeling sorry for them when they were at their lowest, but calling them into their potential, their truth, because I knew it was there. Now, I wasn't always very sensitive because I was still learning. Now I would be a lot more sensitive, but we have got to see the truth of everybody. And I see Fauci's truth. I see Biden's truth. I see Trump's truth. I see Hitler's truth. They all played roles and they all descended to where they needed to go to help us have the experiences that we're having. Just as some are playing the role of my mother, some of my son, some of my grandchild, some of my dog, some of my beloved, some of my dance partners. Well, guess what? In the scheme of all that life is, every one of these people that we don't like, they're playing a role. And what are they reflecting back to you? Because they're a mirror. Every role is a mirror of that which either you've accepted within yourself and you have healed, and with compassion you forgive, or that which you have not accepted in yourself, and it's going to keep showing up until we all come to the place that we call everybody back into the truth of who they are. So sentence number 4. Please listen to this, underline this, triple highlight. This is so important. Those who receive the Father are one with him. I and the Father are one, Jesus said. He had received God's way. I, Laina, and the Father are one. I have received that I'm made of love. I have received that I'm whole and complete. Therefore, I and God, Father, Mother, God are one. I have no doubt whatsoever that I am made of all that God is. Now, I am not, Laina is not all God can be, but all that Laina is made of God. I have no mistakes about that. I know I will return dust to dust. I know I am non-physical energy. I know I'm eternal. I know I'm already with the Father, Mother, and I know I'm here having a human experience. I have no mistake about my identity. Let me read this again. Those who receive the Father are one with him. You can change that word for mother if you want to. You can change it for universe. It doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. Being host to him who created them. I am one with the Father, have received the Father, Mother, God, and I am host to what created me. Therefore, I know as a host, I'm the hostess with the mostest. I used to be a hostess to get people to see, oh my God, look, isn't she amazing? Now I'm the hostess with the mostest that wants to give it away to as many people as would want to receive it. You know, a quick little story. Some of you, let's see, who here would remember this? Let's see. Jody was here. You would remember this. My sweet friend, let's see. You would remember this. You remember because you came to the lake house, many workshops that I hosted there. I used to be the hostess with the mostest, always doing for people, constantly doing for people. And I was drove myself crazy doing because I needed validation. Remember, I was looking for love outside of myself. But by the time that I married Ken and we had the lake house, I had already gone through an incredible transformation. And when I would host my workshops, people were so shocked that I would be the one who went there to the lake ahead of time, got all the rooms ready, got all the beds made, got everything taken care of. I went to the grocery store, bought all the food. Sometimes I'd have 14 people there. I bought all the food. I cooked all the food. I cleaned. I never wanted them to have to do anything. And I would have people say to me, you don't have to do all this. And I would say to these beautiful beings, you have no idea how much I love doing this for you. Because for so long I did to get. So to give, just to give, without an expectation. I didn't even need a thank you for the food was good, because frankly, I didn't care. I didn't need a thank you for, oh, my room was so nice. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm not in charge of your experience. If you don't enjoy it, it's because you're not being the love and the joy that you are. So if you don't enjoy whatever it is that I provided, I know it's yours. But I was giving from my heart unconditionally because I had came to the place where I was being host to the creative source of all that is, that loves and enjoys to give. Why? Because there's no lack. And from that place of giving, something magical happens. There's a transmutation that happens in the cells of your body, where everything changes from low frequency to high frequency, where compassion activates, where kindness activates, gentleness, where honesty, truth activates, because you don't want to hold any secrets. You don't want to push anything below the surface. You want it all out there in the open. Because who eventually can condemn you if all you've done is be loving and joyful and happy and giving? Okay, crucify me if that's what I've done. It's okay. Powerful, powerful stuff. Sentence number 5, and by allowing him, God, to enter, the remembrance of the father, mother enters with him. You begin to remember. So you begin to remember who you are. You begin to remember what everything is. You begin to remember the truth that is true for everybody. And with him, they remember the only relationship they ever had and ever want to have. When your relationship is strictly and only with the Father, once you have decided to do no will but God's, once that to you means I'm going to be happy no matter what, I'm going to be joyful, happy, free. When you abide what even our Constitution says, all men are created equal. You treat everybody the same, as Crystal was saying, treat everybody the same. And you recognize, because the Constitution, parts of that document were inspired by God. Just as the Course in Miracles is inspired, the Bible was inspired. Rumi wrote inspired poetry. Lots of us have read and written inspired things. That document that says that we were all created equal to experience life, liberty, and happiness. Life, you're eternal. Don't sweat death. It's not a big deal. It's just a temporary costume change. You're going to come back in and reincarnate as something else. Don't create a relationship with the devil, the evil. Create a relationship with life. Live. Come alive inside. You can't be controlled. You can't be manipulated. You can't be lied to when you're alive inside, because you can see through the bullshit, because you know bullshit. You've said it, you've lived it, then you can recognize it and realize that you're created free. You're so free. We're all so free. We can put ourselves in bondage. If you're not operating at the frequency of happiness, you don't know who you are. And that is so important that we begin to understand that to be happy, when it's the happiness of the soul, not the happiness of the ego. Ego seeks temporary happiness, but the ego operates on a pendulum. It gets high with happiness. It's got to drop down because it's not real sustainable happiness. It's external happiness. It's happiness that's been manufactured. But when it comes from inside, this is what happens. The only relationship you'll ever want is with your life, eternal life, with your liberty, your freedom, you're accepted, you take full responsibility for it, and with your happiness. You're not willing to give it away for anybody. You will not be miserable so somebody else can be okay. You just will not play that game. You decide to be happy no matter what. And some people may call you insensitive because you are enjoying everything that is happening. So what? So what? It's very uncomfortable for people who operate in a higher frequency and enjoying everything that is. I enjoy the good days of the weather. I enjoy the bad days of the weather. Do I wish some days were sunnier than others? Yes. But in a rainy day, okay, what can I do to enjoy this day? When you get really clear that you do everything exactly the same, your consistent love, your consistent peace, your consistent happiness and joy, nothing will be able to shake your relationship with God, because you and God will have merged into oneness. And you will just radiate the truth of who you are, and nobody will be able to shake that from you. Even if they take your body, it won't matter. This is the time, paragraph 10, this is the time in which a new year will soon be born from the time of Christ. I have perfect faith in you. This is Jesus talking to each and every one of us. I have perfect faith in you to do all that you would accomplish. Just as Jesus was laughing to me this morning in the kitchen, like, okay, Laina, enough with the saying, I didn't give you enough time. I know you can do it. It's in you. So you cultivate a fun relationship with not only everybody that you're with, but with your guides, because it's fun. They you know what? Just about everybody that they're guiding right now is so depressed and so, oh my God, help me, and pleading and help me. We got to end all this craziness. We got to stop the insanity. Those guides are really bored with all the people asking for the same freaking thing. The guides are helping people come up from the bottom, but that's their job. But when you meet Jesus or your guide at a higher frequency, that's fun for them. I mean, it's like a break. They get a break when you are a spark of joy in their day, instead of one that they've got to convince you, yes, you are loved, you are wanted, you are powerful. How many times does your guide tell you the same thing? How many times do you read the same thing, expecting to, like, miraculously, something new is going to come out of it? I did for a long time. Nothing will be lacking. And you will make complete and not destroy. Let me read that again. I have perfect faith in you to do all that you would accomplish. Nothing will be lacking, and you will make complete and not destroy. Because the ego has destroyed this planet, has destroyed relationships, has destroyed all that was beautiful and holy. Temporarily, everything can be restored by our decision that it is so. That's what's so beautiful about this. That this is better than living in the matrix. If you say that it is true, that you are one with all that is, it will be so for you. You don't need for your bodies to merge with somebody else's. You will just know that it is so, because it's all in imagination. We're made in the image of God. God is pure imagination. Not one of us has seen God on the corner twirling a sign, saying pizza, pizza. That you're not going to see that, but we have all felt God. So God must be unseen, yet seen in everything that is. Once we accept that, you're no longer trying to tell yourself stories that are not true. Now you accept the truth that is true, and say then to your brother, to everybody that you meet, you say these words. Which is what Jesus said to me, and I'm saying it to you, and you say it on to those around you. I give you to the Holy Spirit as part of myself. I know that you will be released unless I want to use you to imprison myself. In the name of my freedom, I choose your release, because I recognize that we will be released together. You know, I had the opportunity to read this for the first time when I was married to a man that I was like, oh my God, this man that I adored all of a sudden turned into this crazy dude. And I was starting to feel my ego activating hatred in my heart. And I didn't want that. I'm like, no, if I activate hate towards him, I'm blocking God. I'm blocking my truth. I'm condensing myself. I'm contracting myself. It was like I had freedom. And by being upset with him, I shrank. I didn't want to shrink. And the only way I could shrink is by holding a brother or a sister in less light than I was. So this is how I used to read this to him. Ken, that was his name, Ken, I give you to the Holy Spirit as part of myself. Which means my ego's not going to try and control you. My ego's not going to tell you what's wrong with you. My ego's not going to try and fix you. I'm giving you to the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit, you know this one is just as perfect as I am. Ken, I give you to the Holy Spirit as part of myself. We're one. Ken, you and I are one. I know that you will be released unless I want to use you to imprison myself. I will call you names. I'm in prison. I think I'm better than you, I'm in prison. Because if I put you in prison, guess where I have to be? Holding that door so you don't get out. And who's in prison? I may be on the other side of the rails, but we're both in prison. You may be inside the box. I may have an illusion of freedom because I'm outside, but I got to hold that door shut. How do I hold the door shut and keep you in prison? By continuing to say, you are no good, you worthless, blah, blah, blah. What's wrong with you? I didn't want to do that. Let me read that again. I know, Ken, that you will be released by God, by the Holy Spirit, unless I want to use you and what you've done to me to imprison myself. So in the name of my freedom, I choose your release because I recognize that we will be released together. For you to return to being the holy being that you are, I must be the holy being that I am. Let the love of God flow through me and love you unconditionally. I need to live fully inside. I can't imprison myself in this idea of superiorness and be evil and die inside. I need to let the life that is in me flow through me. And for it to flow through me, it needs to flow to you. Because in this case, where I had assumed the space of Jesus, where like Jesus was teaching me, and then now I'm the one who is sharing this information with Ken, I needed to put Ken in the middle. I needed to flow to him the love that the Father was flowing to me. So I would just send it to him. He didn't need to know it. He did not need to know it. As a matter of fact, when I was sending love, he thought I was being condescending. Oh yeah, you're so enlightened because you can flow love to me. And I would say, I'm in a higher frequency than you are, dude. That's why in this moment, I can send love to you while you're there judging me and attacking me. Now, in the beginning, I couldn't say that because I was scared to death, oh my God, of his reaction. And then eventually I had to work my way through those lessons. I worked my way up to the truth of who I am. And eventually I could watch him in all his anger. And inside it was just so joyful. Sometimes, yeah, the laughter came out of me because it was like so silly. So silly. This grown man was wasting all that precious time that we could have had together, enjoying our time at the lake. He preferred to be grumpy and mad, but I was not going to go to prison with him. I was not going to imprison my soul and be miserable for the rest of the time that I was sitting there in paradise, whether it was there or the car drive home or here in the city. Last paragraph. You don't want to miss this one. This paragraph is probably one of the most important paragraphs in the whole of A Course in Miracles. When you understand what the Course is all about, this paragraph tells you exactly what you need to do to let your life become what God wants it to be, a fun and easy, joyful experience. All right. So will the year begin in joy and freedom. This is a commitment. And if you want joy and freedom, you've got to live the truth of who you are. You got to walk the talk. You got to be in this world, but not of it. There's a lot of crazy people down here who've sold their soul to the ego. That's okay. They can do that. They're not lost. God knows every single one of us. Not one of us is ever left behind, even if some of us have to repeat. That's okay. If people want to play karma and reincarnate and repeat the insanity, it's okay. We're powerful creators. All right. So will the year 2022 begin in joy and freedom. There is much to do, and we have been long delayed, dilly-dallying with the eagle. We have spent thousands of years doing the same thing, expecting different results, operating in hierarchy, operating in lack, operating in not enough love, in conditional behaviors, operating unconsciously. Enough already. Sentence number 10. Accept the holy instant as this year is born, and take your place so long left unfulfilled in the great awakening. The holy instant is the instant that you decide to acknowledge the truth of who you are. The holy instant is the instant that you decide to acknowledge the truth of everybody else. If you're a child of God, so is everybody else. If you're holy, so is Fauci. I keep picking on the poor little guy. If you are holy, so is Hitler. There cannot be one that is more or less than the other, because that means we're not equal in your eyes. And God created us equal. The only thing we need to correct is our vision. Like Lisa, you were saying, you want to see, one of the lessons is above all else, I want to see differently. And to see differently is to see exactly the same as God sees. Is to give up our different ways of looking at life and look at it the way God sees it. This is why this is the most important lesson, the most important paragraph in the whole course. It's telling you right here, you choose to begin with joy and freedom, and you can call that a year, you can call that your week, you can call it your month, you can call it your day, you can call it your minute, your hour, your second. Begin each moment with joy and freedom. There's a lot that we have to do because we're undoing what took time to create. So every second you can start fresh right there, brand new right now. You start right there with joy and with freedom. You accept the holy instant. In this moment, in this instant, I choose the truth. You can do that, whether it's at January the 1st, or you can do that, July the 4th. You can do that at 1 o'clock in the morning. You can do that at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. This is all, sounds like it's about the new year, but this is about a new you. In every now moment, a new you now. Ooh, I like that. I have to create a course with that, maybe a newsletter. A new you now. I'm going to title this class that, or this recording. All right, here comes the line that should rattle you and make you really make a commitment to accept what is true. Make this year different by making it all the same. Make every moment different by making it all the same. That means be you no matter where you are. Be you no matter what. Be beautiful. Stop being what you're not. Stop pretending you are a victim. Stop pretending you're a bully. Stop pretending lack. Stop pretending nobody loves you. Stop pretending you don't love yourself. You are exactly as God created you because you are what God is, and God is love. God is creativity. God is infinity. God is well-being. All of those things are yours. All you have to do is accept them. Just be you. Stop trying to figure out what to do, what to be, what to have, what to get. Just let yourself feel the truth of who you are and activate inside of you the holiness, the frequency of goodness, of godness, of deliciousness that is who we are. And it keeps getting better. Make this year different by making it all the same. And let all your relationships be made holy for you. This is our will. Amen. Deep down inside, all of us want the same thing. What is different is how we are conditioned to go about it. Something that we are going to be happy by getting a partner, by getting the house, by getting this, by getting that. Think about the poor little 1% of the 1%. You know, if you want to feel sorry for anybody, feel sorry for the ones who have it all and still are not happy that they're attempting to destroy humanity. I mean, how miserable do you have to be to have it all when it comes to, you know, finances, to have it all when it comes to all the money, to have all the liposuction you want, all the money, to have all the nice cars, to have all the beautiful beaches in the world, you know, because you can buy them because, you know, they get priced for you. You already have all that. And now you want to go after the whole of humanity and destroy what is left of the people by convincing them that their bodies don't have the healing power of God in them? Do you realize how crazy that is? But crazier still is that so many buy into that bullshit. So those of us who are beginning to feel the resonance of freedom, a desire to be as God created us, those of us who are really clear that we are, without a shadow of a doubt, destined for greatness. And we know that for us to be great, that means we've got to see the greatness in everybody else. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are the change that we want to see in the world. We are the light, the truth, the way, the life. And as we come alive, our light will make evil easier to see, because you'll be able to see those who lie, those who cheat, those who pretend that they know better, those who try and talk us out of what is true inside of us and tell us that they're the ones who are the peddlers of the truth. You know, the Course in Miracles tells us that we have only one problem, which means there's only one solution. What's the problem? Is the authority problem. We have made authority out of money, out of spouses, out of titles, out of status. We have believed that the one at the top is the one that knows everything, that the CEO is the one that knows everything, that the general is the one who knows everything for the army, that the Pope is the one who knows everything, that the Queen knows everything. That's all made up. Because if God didn't create that in the beginning, then it is not so today. So we have created agreements. We have placed ourselves in certain roles, and we're playing those roles. And when we begin to wake up, we are deciding we don't want to play a role anymore. We want to be who we are. We don't want to be an actor, you know, acting a role. We want to be the actor, the actress. How do I want to live my life fully? We are in the midst of the Great Awakening. That means more are waking up. Because little by little, it started with one teacher, two teachers, three teachers over thousands of years. Now we're at the place that we have millions of teachers teaching truth. And guess what? The ego, the part of us that has been controlling those who move into evil and are trying to pull everybody down with them into the bowels of hell, to live in that place of giving up who they are. That's what evil does, takes life away. Those who are attempting to pull humanity down have met their match, which is God pulling humanity up. And the way that they meet their match is when you decide to own the truth of who you are, and you don't settle for their opinion of you. You don't settle for what they tell you, because you will know truth when it is for you, but it is equal for everybody else. So when somebody tells you that you've got to take some kind of a jab and you have to take it and you don't want it, if your truth is, no, I don't want it, it must be equal for everybody else. Everybody gets a choice. You can have it or not. If your truth is, I take it for me, it must be equal for everybody else. You get the choice to take it or not. There is no one size fits all when the ego is the one who's deciding what we're supposed to do. But when you come to God's side, you have a different experience when you make it all the same. Everything changes when you see everybody as powerful. Everything changes when you see everybody as free. But it does not work if you don't do unto them as you'd like them to do unto you. And that's where humanity in this great awakening must stand firm. If you're listening to the voice of God and it is speaking to you, know that it is saying the same thing to everybody else. It is not your job to make them listen. It is your job for you to listen, be in the world, but not of it, and be an example of how God is working through you. Because if God has told you, if you feel it in your bones, that it is your job to go stand in the corner and, talk about God, do it. But don't get upset if nobody listens. If it's your job, if you feel it in your bones, that it is your job to create an organization that stands up for freedom, medical freedom, do it, but don't expect anybody to follow. Those who are meant to be a part of what you're doing are going to show up without you having to market to them. I have spent many, many years realizing that I wanted so hard to make everything that I did work, and I wanted to market, and I wanted to do this, and people need my message, blah, 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 blah. My ego just wanted to be like everybody else, New York Times bestseller, but I can't sell my soul to the devil. I cannot be out there needing somebody else to give me a platform. I need to trust in the truth that is true, and that's resonance. Those who are meant to hear what I have to say, the numbers don't have to be more than one, me. And if anybody is attracted to what I have to say, which is exactly what Jesus said to me, I didn't go out there advertise. I didn't have a marketing team. I didn't have social media. I wasn't putting out quote cards and letting people know, come meet me under the olive tree at 3:00 on Wednesday. I wasn't doing that. How do people know? Resonance. It is so today as it was then. Today, the Great Awakening is activating inside of us that essence that vibrates at a frequency of love, of truth, that is not of this world. That's why we have to be different by making everything the same. We have to be different by committing to the same truth. Be the love that you are so that God can express itself through you. Nothing will make God happier. And in the process, your happiness will just go through the roof. No matter where you are, God is. No matter what's happening in your life, God is right there with you. Are you going to access that? Is up to you. But your love, your joy, your ability to see things in a new, fresh, new way are always within our grasp. Now, if they don't happen instantaneously, what I realized all these years, my kids would say, Mom, you keep saying you're going to win the lottery. You know what? All the years that I haven't won the lottery, I knew I had density I had to release. I had doubts. I was looking for something outside to activate something in me. But my joy, my happiness needs to be consistent with or without the lottery, with or without anything external, because the prize that I have discovered by being under no laws but God's, and my will being one with God's, cannot have a price put on it because it is priceless. And I thank you all so much for coming to this gathering today. We got to go back and listen to what title came out of this, but now I don't remember. So funny. Anyways, let's unmute. I want to hear from you. Kay, you joined us today for the first time. Are you glad, sister, that you joined us?
I am trying to figure out, trying to figure out how to unmute myself. Yes, I had started, trying to see if I even had a date in here, with the Course in Miracles, probably 18 years ago. And so I, was in a small group that was studying it, and then kind of put it aside. And then as the universe shows me, some Lisa, whom I'm very close to, told me that she was doing this, and I was like, oh. And it was a reminder of, that path I had started a long time ago. And just so not to go down that path, but today, yes, this is perfect for this time of year, as you know, we're trying to start thinking about the next year. I'm not somebody that does New Year's resolutions. I never have been, because to me, that's just setting myself up for failure. So I really don't believe in them. But you know, I'm just trying to do the next right thing for me, and trying to work on these relationships that are in my life that have been challenging forever, it seems like. And really they have been forever, because it's been recreating patterns from my family of origin. And I get that. But it's just so hard, you know, to keep and I need these reminders. This is what I need constantly. I need somebody in my head, you know, reminding me of this, because it's just so though. And I was looking, because I took a lot of notes, and I don't want to take up too much time. But earlier when you were talking about, you know, everything being tit for tat, conditional, that was the story of my life. I was brought up that way. And trying to change that. And I'm not a tit for tat person, but when you're surrounded by people that are, it is so difficult to let go and not feel like you have to justify yourself to other people. So anyway, that's all I want to say.
I hear you. So on my YouTube channel, if you guys will go there and like the channel and subscribe so that you get the notifications when I put new information. We've done, this is like the 44th, 45th one of these conversations. They're all numbered. You can pick different titles based on what resonates with you. They're all there on my website, and we're here every Wednesday, pretty much every Wednesday at 12 o'clock Atlanta time. So come back and join us. So that'd be fun.
Well, I will. Yes.
Thank you. Sure. One more person, Spencer. How did you like hanging out with us today?
Oh, it was great. I have enjoyed it, and I think it's really funny, the topic that that came to you, and lining up with the new year and all of that. I mean, obviously kind of there's that play on time, and not being about the new year, it's definitely just enjoyed the class, or enjoyed the meeting.
Message. Well, good. So glad to have you here. So wonderful. So let's take one more person. How about, whether it's Kat or Dondra, Sharon, Daisy, Yuri, Angela, just share what you got out of today's gathering, and then we'll have to wrap it up. Whoever wants to unmute. And if not, we'll just unmute everybody and get everybody to say goodbye, because I know sometimes we participate and we're busy with other things. So please unmute yourselves and then say goodbye. I see, Krista, you've got Sandy with you, and Lisa's got her dog.
They are so much the same. This is my granddog.
Sandy says thank you very much.
Sandy's ready to be let free. She wants her freedom. Bye, everybody. You guys have a good one.
Bye.
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 Bye.